We saw Halifax come away with a win today. They played with an extra man. We'll talk about how effective they were with the extra body, but it was an early red card thanks to 2 yellow cards to Jay Wheeldon. We'll take a look at both of them now and get your reactions to what we saw, because some controversy, especially perhaps on this first one here, just in the 3rd minute of the match.
Really early to give a yellow card, as Gareth mentioned on the broadcast. Usually you only do that for some kind of persistent infringement, unless it's such an egregious foul where the card should be a different color. This one you can't argue with. This absolutely was a yellow card, because if he doesn't give it, the player's through on goal. He's taken away a scoring opportunity, in my opinion. But I liked what Gareth said on the post-game show a few days ago, in that I think coaches are starting to get on top of referees a little bit. And it wouldn't surprise me if somewhere inside this bubble, the referees union met, they said, Calvary, they're persistent in their fouling. They like to take players out of the game by using professional fouls. Let's give them a card early today, get things under control from the start, and eventually it led to Wheeldon getting sent off.
And that's the thing for me. Was it a sloppy initial challenge by Wheeldon? Absolutely. But do you really want to give out a caution that early in a game? No. I mean, not me. So there had to be a message that was delivered by the coaches to the referees.
And the reason you don't is because of that, what happens minutes later.
Exactly, because it put Wheeldon in a place where, we're not supposed to experience double jeopardy, but by virtue of him picking up that early unnecessary yellow in the second minute, it put him in a precarious situation. And full credit to Akeem Garcia. It was a great turn. He put Wheeldon on toast, and there was nothing he could do in that scenario. But it's the first yellow card. I think that will be the one that Tommy Wheeldon Jr. will vehemently disagree with, and that really turned the game on its head.
Well, it turns the game on its head, and it also could have some serious ramifications for the next game, because Cavalry, who's already beat up without Oliver Minatel, done for this season. Camargo's still touch and go, as Tommy Wheeldon Jr. said. We didn't see Pasquale, we didn't see Ledgerwood, and now there's no Wheeldon today.
Who's playing?
Who's playing? Well, Tofa Fakunli's playing, Kurt. That's the answer.
Martin Nash.
Martin Nash, yeah, maybe he'll suit up too.
Give him some shoes. Yeah, it's tough, but what we saw today, and what I think Wheeldon Jr., his message will be to Cavalry, said, look, we're a man down. We have a number of players out through injury. They were full value in this game. They had more possession than Halifax, more shots. The Wanderers didn't really take full advantage, just kind of sat back, were rather complacent. I thought Cavalry were very good. I mean, they're missing out on their entire front line. We didn't see Marcus Haber today. That might have been a decision made by Tommy Wheeldon Jr. because Haber came off last game with some cramping. Perhaps he saw the team go down 2-0 and say, you know what, I'm saving Haber for Tuesday. I'm going to need the big man. Because that was the difference in this game. Not having Haber come into the game, it actually worked against Cavalry because they were creating plenty of chances in and around the area. They just needed that big man in the middle to finish. That's all they were missing in this game.
You can't blame Tommy. I think when it went to 2-0, I think he won't admit this, but I think he abandoned the tie. Just get to the next game. 2-0 is fine. We know if we beat Forge, we go through. He leaves Trafford on the bench. We don't know if Ledgerwood's healthy enough to play. He doesn't come into the match. So I think strategically he leaves players out of that second half looking ahead to Forge. I'm not questioning whether or not they're going to be okay without Wheeldon. I'm questioning whether or not they're going to be okay without all the other guys in the mix, right? They're deep enough at center back to get through without Wheeldon. The question is everybody else.
Camargo's a huge one. It's like the team is not the same without Sergio Camargo. Hernandez put a lot of running in today. So did Zebi in an advanced position. He's probably better as a central midfielder as well. So you're lacking that player to link up with Jordan Brown. He looked isolated at times, and that's playing with 10 men. That's saying something. If Camargo can get over whatever's holding him back, and I've been told that he's been close on a number of different occasions, if they can get him in a position where he can play 45, even half an hour, it's going to be such an advantage for Cavalry going up a game where they're going to have revenge on their mind against Forge. They have a chance to potentially punch their own ticket by winning and keeping Forge out of the Canadian Premier League final. That's a big carrot.
It's two finals for us.
It very much is. And there's lots of decisions to be made for Tommy Wheeldon Jr., maybe some words for his brother as well. Let's hear what he had to say post-game.
Tommy, you had a mountain to climb at half-time there, and you got pretty close in the end.
Do you know what? We've won a lot of games in this tournament, and that's the first time a loss has ever felt good in terms of, can't fault their effort. I mean, they've outran, outworked, and outplayed a Halifax side with a man less in the 15th minute. I mean, I told everyone it would be mistakes or a bit of magic that would go into this, and the mistakes cost us. It gives us a mountain to climb, but honestly, I'm a proud coach for the warrior spirit that we played, and we played some great football. We played with courage. I'm delighted with them.
How important was that second half just to make sure, even though you lost the game, you kind of go into the next one on the right note?
Yeah, I mean, we said it all the time. You can't guarantee results in this game. You can't guarantee calls go your way or go against you. They went against us today, so you've got to now just go on with it. We knew that we had, 3 points in the bank. Another win gets us through. Everything's in our hands, and we've just got to show that type of belief and mentality into the next game, because everybody's tired at this stage. It's just keep playing.
Have you had the chance to have a look at the red card and the penalty and how that affected the game?
No.
And it does come down now to you and Forge again. What do you expect from this match coming up?
Listen, Forge are a good team. They're well coached. They played a very tactical defensive game today and hit on the counter, which they're good at. It's going to come down to who's got a bit of quality and who's got the more gas in the tank. And it makes for an interesting tournament. That's why we're here. But like I said, I am delighted the way our lads played and didn't give up. And if we keep doing that, we'll give ourselves a chance to be in the final again.
You are down to a pretty small squad now. Is there any chance we could see Ledgerwood or Camargo or anyone else come back?
I mean, I think I will be getting Martin Nash out of retirement with that one. And what about Topher Fakunli? He comes on, he almost scores the equaliser, which would have been a hell of a story. But, it's next man up. Whoever's ready, whoever's fit, will take the job, do whatever's required to get a result. And we'll just test the guys in the next 48 hours, which are crucial. And then we'll put a squad together that we think can go and win a football match.
Thanks, Tommy.
All right, thanks.
We'll get it trending. Martin Nash and Tommy Wheeldon Jr. coming out of retirement. How much fun?
Martin's good for 10 minutes, maybe.
Of course,
Come on.
he is, for sure. Probably more than that.
Well, you wouldn't want him for much longer than that, to be completely honest. Okay, let's discuss what Tommy just said. Obviously, it's as happy as you can be as a coach after a loss. I think they showed some pretty good resilience. And the story you mentioned, Topher Fakunli with Team Chaos on their feet, hoping that one was going to find the back of the net. Kurt, what did you make from Tommy's comments? Par for the course?
Topher's going to want this one back, obviously, but kind of a difficult situation when you've been managing the media requests for the last. I've been in contact with this guy for the last month.
Blame the three of us on the couch for that.
Now, look at his face. I mean, he knows, right? He wishes he had it back, and that's the kind of chance that falls to you.
It's tough, though.
Once
That's just
in a
a
while.
reaction play, right?
It's not. Yeah, I mean,
Like
it's.
the ball just comes up ahead. He just pivots his body, and you're just trying to steer it towards
I don't think
goal.
we need to make extra excuses for him. He's already the football operations manager. We don't need to say it was a tough finish.
It wasn't as if it was like a wide open
But
opportunity.
that would have been the best story of these island games if that had happened.
Yeah, there's been some pretty good stories.
That
but
would have been the best
right
story.
up there.
It would have been the weirdest story. I don't know if it would have been the best story.
I love what Tommy Wheeldon Jr. said there. He didn't make any excuses.
Didn't take the Pamadou Ka approach because he still has a game to play.
Well, maybe it's just different coaches in a very different place. He's confident with his team, their mindset, their structure, and I think that bodes well for Cavalry moving into their next game against Forge. I mean, they're ultimately a focused team, and I think he's right. Over the course of 80-plus minutes, that kind of feels like a win for them, the fact that they hung in there and they came this close to salvaging a draw. I think there's a lot to be proud of if you're a Cavalry fan, supporter, or a member of that team here today.
Yeah, I think they can still put out a pretty strong side against Forge. They've rested a few guys today. Haber's going to come in. I've done a little lineup here myself. Go to a 4-5-1. Mavilla's on the left. Trafford's a Tor, Northover across the back. They still have Simmons and Atakubi in midfield. Mm-hmm. Farsi, Haber. You can play Jordan Brown on a wing. They can still put out a pretty good 11 against a Forge team and get a result.
I still think they play those three center backs. It's just Boscovich in there and Trafford instead of Wheeldon. That way you can play Mavilla down the left, Farsi down the right. You have your two central midfield players. It's just about what that attack's going to look like. In last game against Pacific, Haber and Brown, that works together, Kurt.
Yeah.
I like those two playing together. So who's that third player? Maybe it's Zebi playing kind of the role that Nico Pasquati played last match, because what we saw, Forge against Halifax last time, you put pressure on Alexander Ashinodi Janssen, you disrupt things for Forge, trying to build out the back. You can have some joy there. I think it's going to be a great game. Two teams with history. They do not like each other whatsoever. Bring it on.